good to be back at Planned Parenthood, because you know why? When I was a teenager, this was my first choice. When I became sexually active, my boyfriend and I decided to make sure that we were going to be healthy. We were not going to get any STDs or anything else. We wanted to be safe. And the most wonderful thing is, not only was he my high school sweetheart, but he was also my college sweetheart. And we're still safe. But let me tell you something about the ill thought out legislation that we are considering in the Missouri legislature right now. It is an attack on us. It is an attack on our freedom and our privacy. I want to say to all of my colleagues who are in the Senate and in the House of Representatives, stay out of my personal business. Stay out. What we try to talk about is really conservative victimization. It's conservative victimization. I know about victimization because I experienced Ferguson. I was tear gassed for 3.5 hours on a one-way street. I have young people who don't have homes, who don't know what they are going to do in the next week, or whether or not they're going to have a job. This is, as far as I'm concerned, a sanctity of life issue. Yes. Yes. I have thousands of people who are in my district in North County who have been dying because of radioactive waste. Yes. I have children who are born without eyeballs and children who have double sets of teeth because of radioactive waste. This is a sanctity of life issue.
Yes.
These issues have been ignored for far too long. And let me tell you, when I talk to the senator, because we sit right next door to each other, we sit right next to each other. When I talked to him, I said, you know what? We've been dealing with my district for 2 years right now. 2 years. And you've done absolutely nothing. And oh, by the way, do you remember that you're also the chair of the committee that oversees Ferguson? Why is it that we only had one meeting on Ferguson, yet we have so many meetings when it comes to the privacy of individuals, especially women?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why are you doing? The question is, why are you being hypocritical? If you are unwilling to recognize the great things that Planned Parenthood does for all of us, for all of us. Yes. Just this morning I was sitting down with a couple of young people at breakfast, and we're going back and forth talking about our philosophies and ideologies. We don't all agree, and that's okay. And a woman said to me, Maria, I disagree with, she said this, I disagree with you in your stance when it came to SJR 39. And I said, I respect your opinion, but let me tell you, the passion that you have behind being for the bill is the same passion that I have when it comes to saving people's lives who are alive and walking.
Yes.
And I don't care. Here's what she said to me. Here's what she said to me. She said, I can't care about the money that's involved. I don't care about what civic progress says. And I said, let me tell you something. We are on the same wavelength here. Because I don't care how much money people have who are trying to buy out our legislature and our country. I'm going to keep fighting for people who don't have a voice. Let me tell you another thing. There are people who are dying because they're gay. There are people who are afraid to come to Planned Parenthood. And in a community that looks like mine, the one that I represent, the number one thing that we need is a Planned Parenthood. And when you have legislation like this, there are people who are in communities that don't have a high level of education, but they certainly have to know that they have an open door when it comes to Planned Parenthood. And if we do not communicate the importance of having health care, then we're going to reinvent the wheel again and again and again and again and again. And as Obama and other people have said, you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you get the same results.
Yes.
Yep. Who's stupid?
Yeah.
We're not going to keep doing that. And so I'm sick and tired of our conservative legislature telling us what we're going to do. We have one entity in the state that protects women. One entity, and they're not even dealing with the women who are abused and beaten. Or the women who are made pregnant because they have controlling husbands who want to keep them in their control. We don't talk about that. Or the women or young girls who have been victimized by a relative. They don't talk about that. And already when we come to Planned Parenthood, when we're young, sometimes we're scared. Our young people are absolutely scared about, I hope mom didn't know, because my mom didn't know. She didn't know. She just said to my boyfriend, if she comes home pregnant, I'll break your knees. That's all she said. Right? So I listened to that part of it. But here's the deal. You know, it is an honor and it is a privilege to represent this movement because we all deserve to have our own sanctity of our bodies. You know, no one gets to decide what we do. No one gets to decide which tattoo I'm going to get or who I sleep with. It's no one's business but our own. And when we have a legislature that is willing, overly willing, to pass legislation in an election year, when there are so many other vital issues we are dealing with, it's absurd. And that's what tells me that they don't really care about the sanctity of life. They don't. They don't care. I've had young people in the last 2 years who have tried to commit suicide. One person is transgender, 19 years old. Another young lady who has been very active in Ferguson in the movement, 23, trying to commit suicide. And there are others. There are other issues that we need to be dealing with. And we are at a point in time where we have to come together and build upon all of the strengths that we have and move forward and fight these folks and call them out for their hypocrisy. They're totally hypocritical of themselves. So I have to move on. I'm really